FN-2187, finish them! He hesitated again. The blood pounding in his ears drowned out the roaring flames. I can't. When Kylo Ren descended the ramp of his shuttle in a swirl of black robes, FN-2187 sensed a strange energy in the air. Fear, yes, but also something deeper. A silent hum that tugged at him. Ren's lightsaber hissed to life. Its crimson glow reflected off the troopers' helmets. Lives ended in an instant. FN-2187 watched villagers fall, choking back a surge of horror. Later, aboard the Star Destroyer Finalizer, FN-2187 stood at attention under the harsh glare of overhead lights. The guilt of the Jakku massacre weighed on him. Captain Phasma's metallic visor reflected his own uneasy face back at him. You removed your helmet without my permission. That's not protocol. Get it together, trooper. But FN-2187 couldn't forget Jakku. He wandered the sterile corridors, lost in thought. A door slid open, revealing Poe Dameron, the Resistance pilot captured after the skirmish. Two troopers flanked Poe, who wore fresh bruises but still managed a wry smile. Thanks for the escort. You guys give guided tours too? Something in Poe's defiance resonated with FN-2187, igniting a spark of determination. Without fully understanding why, he made the decision in that moment. I'm getting this man out of here. The escape was harrowing. FN-2187 released Poe, commandeered a TIE fighter, and together they blasted out of the Finalizer's hangar to a cacophony of alarms. Heat flared from the engines as Poe wrestled with the controls. Tell me your name! My name is FN-2187. I won't call you that. I'm calling you Finn. Finn blinked, letting the name settle. A name. A real name. It felt right, even if everything else in the galaxy was spinning out of control. Their victory was short-lived. The TIE took a direct hit, sending them spiraling toward Jakku's surface. Flames burst from the hull as the craft careened through the atmosphere, trailing smoke across the desert sky. When Finn came to, he stumbled from the wreckage alone. Of Poe, there was no sign, only the blazing remains of the TIE being swallowed by the dunes. Staggering across the desert, he shed the last remnants of his stormtrooper armor, forging ahead under the brutal sun. With each step, he felt an odd presence calling to him, invisible yet persistent, whispering that his life was on the verge of a monumental change. Desperate for water, Finn reached a ramshackle trading post teeming with scavengers. That was where he met Rey, a determined young woman dressed in desert attire, her hair pulled into practical knots. Alongside her was BB-8, a small spherical droid whose chirps and beeps emanated urgency. You all right? BB-8 beeped indignantly, protective of their supplies. Thank you, stormtroopers. First Order are coming. He barely finished speaking when TIEs roared overhead, blasting the outpost into chaos. Rey grabbed his arm and they dashed through the marketplace, desperate to evade the troopers. Spotting an abandoned Corellian freighter, they bolted aboard, the engine sputtering to life under Rey's frantic piloting. Together, they outran the pursuing TIE fighters with daring maneuvers that defied logic. Finn couldn't help but stare. For a mere scavenger, Rey flew like she belonged in an ace squadron. Afterward, they found themselves on Takodana, a lush planet where Maz Kanata, a small centuries-old being with keen insight, ran a castle-turned tavern. The building echoed with music and chatter from smugglers and travelers of all species. Maz's eyes, enlarged by comically oversized goggles, fell upon Finn. Show me your eyes, child. My eyes? Yes, they tell me you want to run. But I also sense you have a greater purpose. Curious yet unsettled, Finn wandered down a dim corridor. In a locked chest, he found Luke Skywalker's old lightsaber. The moment he touched the hilt, it ignited something within him. Swirling visions of burning temples, screaming voices, and a masked figure. Kylo Ren? Another face emerged from the haze, someone wreathed in light. Then the echo of a mysterious voice. You are the balance. Heart pounding, Finn dropped the lightsaber. Maz appeared behind him with a calm smile. That saber called to you, not to Rey. I believe you already know what that means. He tried to shrug off her words, but the dreamlike images lingered. He sensed a power inside himself, awakening with every breath. The First Order soon attacked Takodana, forcing Finn into action. With trembling hands, he ignited the lightsaber to defend friends and strangers alike. Though untrained, he found an uncanny instinct guiding each parry. Afterward, reunited with the Resistance, he stood face to face with General Leia Organa. She regarded him with an appraising look, noticing the lightsaber at his side. You're strong in the Force. I can feel it. I don't understand it. I can teach you what I know, until we find Luke. Under her guidance, Finn practiced in a secluded area near the Resistance base. He gripped the saber, uncertain of each step. Leia taught him how to quiet his mind, to sense the life around him. He began to tap into the Force's currents, feeling Chewbacca's steady resolve nearby, catching glimpses of Poe's restless energy. At night, his dreams intensified. The voice repeated, "You are the balance." His slumber was haunted by images of a cave, dark and foreboding. In a hushed moment, he confided in Leia. "I keep seeing a cave. It calls to me, almost like it did to Luke in the stories I've heard. Luke once told me of Dagobah, where he faced his own fears. Maybe that's where you need to go." Though trepidation churned inside him, Finn could not deny the pull. He recalled the swirl of images from the lightsaber, temples in flames, cries for help, and the unceasing whisper. He had to discover what it all meant. Even the path led him far from his new allies. Stepping off his borrowed X-Wing onto Dagobah's mist-shrouded surface, Finn felt the swamp's humidity drench his clothes. Vines dripped from twisted trees, and the ground squelched beneath his boots. He followed that inner pull until he found the entrance to a shadowy cave. A dank smell and a suffocating darkness enveloped him. Inside, illusions swirled. He saw himself draped in black robes, leading an army of Force wielders wielding sabers of both red and blue. His reflection stared back with hardened eyes. "Which side will you choose?" Then, as suddenly as it appeared, it shifted. Finn, in radiant robes, guiding a new order of balanced Force users. The cave whispered, "The prophecy was never about lineage. You are not Skywalker's heir. You are the Force's." Gasping for air, Finn stumbled out, heart hammering. He understood now that the ancient prophecy of the Chosen One spoke not of a bloodline, but of balance. Someone who could navigate light and dark without succumbing to either. Could he truly be that figure? He returned to the Resistance base, changed by this revelation. Rey sensed it at once. They met in the war room, a massive holomap of the galaxy casting a blue glow across their faces. Poe and Leia stood nearby, sorting intelligence on a new threat. A being named Primaris, rumored to be a dark clone of Palpatine and Snoke's combined essence. "You've grown stronger, but I sense conflict in you. We cannot fight darkness with darkness. I've seen visions of the galaxy in flames. We might not have time to debate. We have to act. Patience. Anger leads us down a dangerous path." They argued in hushed voices. Both wanted to protect the galaxy, yet they diverged on the method. A rift grew between them, an unspoken tension, forging separate roads for two friends who had once stood side by side against the First Order. Soon they learned of Primaris. The intelligence Poe presented revealed an abomination forged from strands of Palpatine's DNA merged with Snoke's twisted lineage. This creature led a splintered legion of the First Order, armed with a superweapon designed to sever the galaxy's connection to the Force itself. This is bad. He calls himself Primaris. Our entire existence depends on the Force. If he severs it, we lose more than just our powers. We lose hope. Despite recent tensions, Finn and Rey set aside differences. They agreed to infiltrate Coruscant, where Primaris was rumored to operate from the ancient depths below the planet's surface. Together, they led a strike team, Poe, Chewbacca, and a handful of commandos. Under the flashing lights of the city planet's skyline, chaos reigned. Star destroyers hung in orbit, exchanging fire with ragtag resistance cruisers. On the surface, entire districts bristled with troopers. Finn felt the Force swirl chaotically, as if reacting to Primaris' vile attempts to contort it. Navigating ancient catacombs beneath Coruscant, they uncovered a colossal machine fueled by dark rituals. Primaris stood at the center of the chamber, bathed in shadow, the air around him crackling with purple currents of Force lightning. "You're just a stormtrooper who got lucky." The color signified neither the pure light of the Jedi nor the crimson of the Sith. Something beyond. "I won't let you break the Force." Primaris unleashed a torrent of energy. Rey countered with her saber, sparks dancing across the stone floor. The fight that followed shook the subterranean chamber, metal and debris tumbling from the ceiling. Finn and Rey fought in tandem at first, but Primaris slammed them with waves of darkness. They found themselves separated in the swirl of rubble and raw power. Rey reeled from a blast of dark energy, crashing into a mangled corridor. She coughed, struggling to stand. Across the chamber, Finn confronted Primaris alone. The machine buzzed with sickly power, preparing to sever the Force from the galaxy at any moment. "You're no chosen one. You're a mere foot soldier." "I used to be a foot soldier, but not anymore." He recalled his visions, the black-robed figure and the shining white figure. Two extremes. Balance. He now understood that his calling was to embrace both sides, forging a new path that neither Jedi nor Sith dared to walk. He lunged, his white blade colliding with Primaris' staff, arcs of energy rippling through the cavern. In that moment, he realized only one thing could destroy the device: a direct overlord from the Force channeled through him. It would kill him, but it would save everyone. Finn! She tried to reach him, but Primaris hurled her back again. Finn steadied himself, heart pounding. Summoning every ounce of will, he thrust his saber into the core of the machine. A colossal surge of power erupted. Primaris shrieked in fury, caught in the feedback. The machinery cracked, sending shards of metal and arcs of electricity in all directions. Rey shielded her eyes. The entire underground complex trembled. She felt the Force's tremor, then a sudden calm. When the light cleared, Primaris lay defeated, the machine's remains littered on the floor. Finn had collapsed, enveloped in a halo of crackling sparks. Rey rushed to him, tears blurring her vision. Finn, no, stay with me. He looked at her with eyes full of acceptance, then he smiled as though at peace. The Force pulsed softly around them. You have to carry it on. Before his form faded, becoming one with the Force itself. In that final heartbeat, Rey sensed a radiance emanating from Finn's presence, and then he was gone. Across the galaxy, the First Order remnants collapsed under resistance and allied uprisings. Planets once under tyranny lit up with celebration. The Force flowed unbroken, thanks to Finn's sacrifice. At the new Resistance headquarters, Rey stood before a small memorial. A helmet from Finn's old stormtrooper armor rested upon a pedestal, etched with the words, Finn, the Chosen One. Poe and Chewbacca watched quietly as she placed her hand on the cold metal. In a nearby courtyard, a group of young Force sensitives practiced basic techniques. Rey's new approach of balanced teachings, neither strictly Jedi nor Sith. As she turned to observe them, she felt Finn's presence, warm and reassuring, echoing through the Force. I won't fail you, Finn. Throughout the galaxy, stories spread of a stormtrooper who rose from obscurity to save them all. While statues of Skywalker still graced the grand halls of history, a new monument stood beside them, dedicated to a man who proved destiny could choose even the most unexpected. And so concludes our story. What if Finn was the Chosen One? If this reimagining sparked your imagination, feel free to share your favorite what if scenarios in the comments. Subscribe for more explorations of a galaxy far, far away. May the Force be with you, always.